You're listening to Leadership Recalibrated, where we dismantle outdated leadership playbooks and explore the new way to lead. I'm Lori Lalonde, founder of Her Executive Ascent, and I created this podcast because I was tired of hearing the same recycled advice about what it takes to be a good leader. You know the scripts: be more confident, lean in, develop executive presence. But what if those scripts were written for a leadership model that no longer works? What if the future of leadership looks less like commanding authority and more like strategic influence, emotional intelligence, and authentic power? Each week, we take on the questions most leadership programs avoid, the power dynamics nobody teaches, and the decisions that actually shape your career. This is where you stop following the old rules and start designing the leadership career that fits who you are now and where you're going next. Let's recalibrate. Welcome to Leadership Recalibrated, a leadership insight series by Her Executive Ascent. I'm Lori Lalonde, CEO and founder of Her Executive Ascent. Most of the technology shaping our world right now was not built with women in mind. The algorithms, the models, the systems making decisions about who gets hired, who gets promoted, and whose voice gets amplified. Built largely without us, trained largely without us, and now being deployed at a scale that is moving faster than most of us can track. Today's guest has spent her career at the intersection of technology, storytelling, and human connection. 13 years at Microsoft, a best-selling book on brand storytelling translated into 4 languages with awards worldwide. And now she has left one of the most powerful platforms in the world to build something the industry has never seen: an AI built by women, trained on women's lived experiences, and designed to do what most technology has never bothered to do: actually work for us. Miri Rodriguez is the founder and CEO of Empressa AI, and she is here to talk about why AI can either widen the gender gap or close it, and why that outcome is entirely up to us. Let's get into it. Welcome to the podcast, Miri. I'm so glad you're here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Lori. It is an honor, and thanks for being flexible with my crazy schedule.
Oh, I appreciate that you are carving out some time in that crazy schedule for this episode of the podcast. Thrilled about it.
It's
Um,
important, very important.
oh. So, for our audience, I'd love for you to walk us through your career journey and what led to the creation of Empressa.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my career journey is a little bit crazy. I think everybody can say that about their own career journey. You never really end up where you started or where you think you were going to end up. But so I started in communications and marketing. That's really my like where I studied, and I lived in I'm originally from Venezuela, Caracas, Venezuela. I moved to the States with my family when I was 13. So I really started my career in Miami. And my first job out of, college was a fun job. It was a job that promoted yacht industry events. And so I was on the beach, seven times a year. It was so much fun. It was a great industry, and I was like, I'll never leave this. This is like the best. I was also 20, right? So it was great. And then my sister, who is the total opposite of me, in every sense of the word, she went into finance and she went right in. She was recruited right into Motorola. We had a huge hub in Florida, in South Florida. And she's like, you need to get into tech. Tech is so much fun. I'm like, I'm not getting into tech. I'm in shorts and t-shirts all day long. I'm not, I live on the beach. I'm not getting into tech. I was doing sales operations on the yachting industry. But as anything, I kind of ran its course. I was there for 7 years, and then my sister submitted my resume. They hired me at Motorola, and that really started the industry. So comms and marketing in tech, that's where it began, and I never left. What I really loved about the tech industry is that I was made aware instantly that this is always the future. When you're in tech, you're always talking about innovation and the future. So I ran the rest of my career into tech. I did Motorola, Citrix, Brightstar, and then Microsoft recruited me. They called me out of nowhere. I answered. It was a recruiter, and then I joined Microsoft, and I was there. I think I was one of those people. I was like, oh, I'll just do this for a couple years, and then I'll put it on my resume and then be done. But no, I stayed 13 years, and that's because Microsoft became such a huge platform for me. as a woman, as a Latino woman in tech, and it became such a great platform to do what I'm doing today, which is when I left Microsoft last year, I launched Empressa. We launched it on on Microsoft platform, so we are actually on the Azure stack. We are a Microsoft partner, and very proud to be so because I do love the Microsoft technology. So, all in all, I'm a non-tech woman in tech who has turned into a startup builder. So I'm so excited.
I love that journey, and oh my god, it would have been a struggle for me to leave the yacht
Oh,
tourism space, like,
so
oh my
fun.
goodness,
So
so
fun.
fun.
Everybody was happy and partying all day long. It was great.
Yes. Oh, and then I'm also a little bit like, I have a bit of FOMO because I was at Microsoft for 7 years, and I think 2023 was when I was in the layoff round in the July 2023, round, and I'm really, like, feeling a little some kinda way about, like, sad that I'm like, "These amazing women were also in
Mm,
Microsoft," and I know
I
Microsoft's
know.
huge,
So
but I'm like,
big.
"I wish we would have crossed paths in Microsoft." You, Joanna, there's so many women,
So many. Julie.
that Oh, yeah, no, Julie, I worked with Julie, actually.
I do remember that. She did tell me that. That was awesome. Yeah, I mean, Microsoft is huge, and and
Yeah,
that's actually one of the things that what you're talking about. It's like so many amazing women, and
yeah,
we missed each other, you know. So
yes. I know. Oh, when I joined Microsoft, my story is similar in the fact that I
mm,
got a phone call out of the blue saying, "Hey, there's this role," and I was in the Microsoft MVP community, so this is why, and it's like, "Hey, this role came up, your name came up, are you interested in applying?" And the funny part is I was in development at the time, like in consulting, but focused more on web development and mobile development. I had no experience with cloud. And the call was, "Hey, we need you to come in. Would you be interested in applying for this role? It's all about Azure." I'm like, I know barely anything about Azure except for like the 100 level like workshops that I get to run in the MVP community. And they were like, "We're not concerned. We know you can learn it." Like, and so I interviewed and got the role, and that was the
amazing.
first time in my career I was ever hired on potential
Wow.
versus what I've proven.
What you brought
And
to the
for
table already. Yeah,
and for women, that's usually the case. It's you have to prove you can do it before you get hired, and Microsoft and the team there, that was the first time where they're like, "We know you don't have that experience, but we know you can learn it. We love the background you bring. We've seen what you've done in the community." And I was just like, I didn't know what to do with that. It was like
amazing,
and
amazing.
a and I didn't think I would be there very long either because I usually moved around every
Mhm.
couple of years,
Yeah, me too.
and and even in the interview, they said, like, "We noticed that you have, like, a lot of companies on your
Yeah.
resume, you've moved around every couple of years." I said, "Yeah, well, that's because I would get bored. Am I gonna get bored here?" And they laughed, they're like, "Oh, you're not gonna get bored." I'm like, "Okay."
I thought I would get bored too, but it's so massive and it's so broad that you can just go different industries, different levels. I mean, you could just I in 13 years I was in like 5 different orgs doing so many different things, and I never got bored. I never got bored. And I love, Lori, what you said about being hired on potential. I think an elevation of that is being hired on what you already brought to the table, which is transferable skill sets. A lot of times women will be like, "Oh, well, I don't know how to do that." Yes, you do. You just haven't transferred that into the direction that you want to go, but you already bring that, and that's what they saw. So a lot of times we ourselves block our minds and limit our minds on what we can apply to roles and things that we can apply to opportunities. Because we say, "Oh, we haven't done it yet." Well, the president was never president before, right? Like like there's roles that you just show up and you're like, "Hey, I'm here, I'm ready," and you do it, and you learn on the go. A lot of the roles are like that anyway. So yeah.
Oh, I know, but yeah, it was so different, and I stayed at Microsoft for 7 years, but as a woman, it's like we always feel like we have to be overqualified, we have to have all the answers, we have to have demonstrated we've done it, but and it's interesting because this leads to really what you're doing with Impressa in providing this platform for women to build the next era of skills, which is, as we know, AI. It's things are growing, changing fast in the industry. And the mission statement you have with Impressa is AI can widen the gap or close it. So, how is AI actively widening the gap for women? especially
Yeah.
women in leadership right now? And
Yeah.
what can they do to close that gap?
It's a great question. So our mission statement is actually a little bit aligned with Microsoft, being that we're a Microsoft partner. It is to empower every woman to build her empire with AI she can trust. And so we think of Empressa as a growth and skilling platform. So we provide both skilling opportunity and growth opportunity, which includes revenue share. And that's essentially important right now in this era where everything is transitioning. I am seeing daily numbers and stats and analytics around women's displacements, not just in their jobs, in the shift of the industry itself. And that is can be scary, but it also speaks of opportunity that we have not tapped into as women. Let me give you some specifics. There's like 86% of jobs most exposed to AI automation are held by women. So that's a really terrible statistic for women. Um, Women make up less than 25% of the workforce building AI, and so we're disproportionately impacted by systems that we have no hand in crafting. So for us at Impressa, that um, those statistics really speak to what we want to do, and we want to offer women a safe space to play with a safe AI, a bias-aware AI, which we've created. It's a large language model, it's a GPT model, and also enable a community of women that they can transition or navigate transitions, not just job transitions. It could be your life transition. You've made a decision. You said, you know what, I don't want to be here anymore. We're seeing a lot of that as well. Um, Women quitting, soft quitting, or hard quitting, saying I no longer want to do this. Creating the space where they can safely transition and feel like they're not alone in this space. We also have a vision, which is the gender equity gap. We want to see that close in our generation, not in the next 123 years. The World Economic Forum is estimating that it's going to take 123 years for gender parity worldwide in the workforce to close. That means today in 2026, women are still making 83 cents or 86 cents per dollar that a man makes for the same job in 2026. And so to close that is going to take, you and I wouldn't be here, even if we're centennials, and we want to see that close. So for us, it's really, really important that we create a space that welcomes women where they are and enables them to go where they want to go next.
I love that. And that is hearing the numbers is
Yes.
sobering
Yeah.
because it feels like the gap has widened
Yeah.
instead of shrunk, even
Yeah.
despite decades of advocacy. I know, like, many women in tech, myself, you included, we have been advocating, and it felt like 10, 15 years ago, that wasn't as wide of a gap as far as
No.
reaching that parity and that equality,
Yeah.
and this is scary, and I think AI is gonna exacerbate that.
You're right. That's exactly the question that you asked about. AI can widen the gap or it can close it. That is exactly, you're right on point. I believe that it can do both. I believe that women now, today, we have the responsibility and the privilege to enable that. Like, we cannot sit back anymore and blame systems and historic, infrastructure that exists and biases that are embedded. That sure, it exists, it's there. What is next? I believe what is next is that we take it on ourselves. This generation, I call us the digital, the Rosa Parks of the digital age. We need to sit in front of that bus and be like, okay, this is enough. It is up to us to really leverage AI to help close that gap. If we don't, it will widen. There's nobody else that's going to do it for us. Historically, we've seen that. And so, yes, it is potential. Its potential is huge to scale at disproportionate amounts. We see that AI is trained on incomplete or biased data, which means it's hard coding today's gaps into tomorrow's opportunities at scale. So anything that it's shaping the way that we live, it's shaping how we are going to live in that new future. If we are not shaping those systems that shape us, um, it will widen that gap.
Yeah, 100%, and that's the scary part is, I mean, there's multiple camps here that I'm noticing. I'm noticing, like, the women that are pioneering at the
Mm,
forefront, the women who are claiming their seat at the table and saying, "Yes, I'm gonna be part of this. I want to ensure that we have the ability to call out bias in AI models and that we do something about it. There are women who are not wanting to participate in it, and that's pretty scary, and I understand why. So when I see the news and when I hear about the major AI services that are out there and some of the hallucinations it provides or the bias results it provides or even how it's implemented in systems,
Yeah,
it's scary. But
it
I will
is.
tell you there's nothing more refreshing, like, when I joined Impressa and I learned about Impressa's platform and how your AI is built for women's realities, ambitions, and lived experiences, there was something that shifted. It was like knowing that this is a platform, this is an AI, that I can work with, that I could chat with,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and I can rely on the results and because it's constantly being trained on women's knowledge as we're inputting more of our own knowledge into the Impressa system as well, but it
that's right.
was designed for women.
Yes.
That there's something about that that feels special. So,
Uh,
could you share with us what inspired that and what changes when AI is actually trained on data that is reflecting our lived experiences?
I love that question. I'll start with the first part of that, what inspired it. I didn't mention at the beginning when you asked about my career, my evolution from comms and marketing within Microsoft went into storytelling. So when Satya Nadella came on board as CEO, and he set out to really change the culture of the company, which I was so grateful for, and I learned so much from him as a leader. It was really life changing for me to read his book, Hit Refresh, to understand empathy as a skill set, not just as a personal attribute. So many different things that he brought to the culture of Microsoft internally. And one of those things was storytelling. He really set out to talk to customers with a perspective of stories and not just a sales motion only, or a features related motion only. Like here's our product. Essentially, the mission itself changed as everyone knows. It went from every PC on every desk in every home, or mobile first, or cloud first, to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. No product mentioned, right? It's about people, and so that really inherently I attained to that, and I was brought into a space to do storytelling. In the storytelling space, it's not communications and it's not marketing. It can be used for those things, but it really isn't. It's a human connection strategy. It is getting to the core of what you and I are doing right now. We're telling stories, and somebody's going to listen to the story, and they're going to be connected to us because of that story. And so I elevated my career. I went into storytelling. I finished my master's with uh, communications and in design with design thinking principles, which enabled me to actually create a framework for storytelling, which became very successful within and outside of Microsoft. All that to say, the inspiration of that was I looked back at my own heritage. I looked back at my own story, my personal origin story, and how other people's stories, women's stories particularly, influenced me. My mothers, my aunts, my grandmothers. And then you think about the anthropology and the history of human existence. And before all of this digital media and this beautiful communication connection technology that we have today, we just had the analog storytelling, right? We sat around the fire and we told stories, and that's what allowed our species to really continue and thrive. And so, the spirit behind Impressa is a storytelling one. When you chat with Impressa AI, as opposed to any other GBT model that you'll chat with, it won't just give you an assertive answer and 2, 3 points to do it. Example, if you say, "Hey, ChatGPT, how do I scale my business with marketing?" It's going to say, "Well, marketing is this and this and that, and you can scale it in these 3 or 5 steps," and that's it. It is obviously sourced from the internet. You may or may not know if that's true. It's not facts based unless you ask for citations. You don't know if it's been proven. What you get on Impressa is women, what we call the Imperial Council. You get a council of women showing up, three to five, and you ask the same question. You can ask Impressa, how do I scale my business with marketing? And three marketing experts who have, created their own frameworks, have had their own lived experience, have proven their own worth in their value in the ecosystem can say, hey, here's what worked for me, or here's what I enabled. Here's a framework that has been proven successful for me. So you got three people, different women with their experiences telling you the story of what enabled them, not telling you how to do it, but saying this is how it works for me, and you take what resonates. So it is a counseling, and you can actually connect with that woman. You can say, "Wow, I really loved what Stacy said in her framework or her book and her 5 steps or whatever. I want to connect with her." So you have an opportunity to further connect with her. So the AI in our Impressa AI is the connector. It is not the output, which I think is very, very different than anything else. When we say Impressa is built from women's lived experiences, we mean it literally. I mean, our AI is powered by that Imperial Council, seasoned women experts who contribute. Most AI is trained on internet scraped data that reflects existing power structures and biases. And that's scary because we know that the internet is 89% authored by men, meaning most of the content is going to be men created content. I'm not saying this is wrong or right. I'm just saying these are facts. When you look at Wikipedia and when you look at other big sources from the internet, it's really men who wrote it. And so that is an invisible online spectrum that you're going to get, and it's missing the lived experience from actual women. And so the pattern recognition, the wisdom that women leaders have developed navigating systems are not there. So Impresa is now creating this digital library of people like you, of women like us, who are putting their content in there in the hopes that another woman can learn from her experience, from her story, and she also gets paid for that. So we are not just sourcing your content and saying thanks, thanks for feeding our AI. It is an economy system, which alluding back to the first question you asked about that wage gap, that gender gap. We need to empower each other. Women give a lot of their stuff away, most of their stuff away, and so no, we will give you royalties. There's a weighted system, so it's sort of a Spotify model where if you help answer a question that a woman asks, not just in business, by the way, it's wellness, lifestyle, and business. You will get paid royalties from enabling that conversation.
Yeah, I love that model, and I remember when you shared that model initially, I was like, "Oh my god, yes," because
Yeah,
we do give so much away, and
we do.
coming to the
We do.
table t and designing your platform to say, "We're going to make sure that you also benefit from sharing your knowledge within
Yeah.
the Impressa community." That is
Hmm.
awesome, and even when we were doing sessions for, running the AI Foundation sessions and facilitators would raise, volunteer their time for it, we didn't expect anything in return, but we got, access to the Impressa platform, we got access to the WIT network, and it was just refreshing to feel like, um valued for volunteering to do that stuff. So I love that the way you, and Stacy operate Impressa and that mission of making sure women, are valued for what they bring to the table, and yeah, so it's phenomenal. I love being part of that community. It's an
We
active
love that you're part of
community.
it. Yeah,
Oh
it
my
is.
goodness.
It's a
It's
family.
so good, right? Because
Mhm.
it's not just the AI platform, but also the community, itself and all of the different things that are talked about and shared, and I've learned so much from just the women in that community from what they've shared in the community channels, let
Yeah,
alone,
so
the AI
good.
itself, so yeah, that's phenomenal.
It is. I think it's actually the best part of Impressa. When we set out to create this space, I really honestly, I was like, okay, everyone's just going to tune into the AI, which it is great, as you mentioned, it's so much fun to chat with it and to learn from women's experiences. But beyond that, it is a community because then it becomes real. Is women that you do know are there. Like, if I met Stacy online because I kept chatting to Impressa and she kept coming up. I'm like, oh, I can actually meet Stacy in real life, right? And so that access to women is also important. And back to what we were talking about at the beginning, Microsoft is so big and we never found each other. So through Impressa, it is very, it removes a lot of the internet noise to really connect intentionally with women that you are resonating with. You went in, you asked the question, 3 women showed up. One of them was like, wow, that she really understands my story, or I'm connecting to her story a little bit more, and so you have a chance to actually meet this person. And we're actually entering phase 2, which is really exciting. So a lot of new things coming up in May, which you'll be part of it. I'm excited for all the community to be part of it. But a lot of that is that community aspect. We're really going to dive into a deeper community aspect for women because we are also seeing that in the displacement navigation, women are feeling very alone. So beyond AI, there's a fatigue. about AI and like, oh, do I need to learn? Do I need to do? What do I need to do? What next? Beyond that is also like I don't, AI is becoming rapidly for women one more thing to do that they need to prioritize, and it's top of mind. And it's this big ecosystem for them that's screaming at them, and it's exhausting. So the community kind of balances that out where you can just come in. You don't even have to chat with them right side. You can chat with real people and really connect with women who are navigating the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite part, because I am such a people
Yeah.
person and I'm all about
Yeah, me
network and
too.
community, I've always been that way,
Yeah.
and the women that I've met in the, Impressa community and the Imperial Council, just I get a little bit of imposter syndrome, I'm like, "Why am I here? They're amazing, like, what
Oh
am
my
I
gosh,
doing?"
because you're amazing. What are you talking about? And it's
No,
funny you
no.
say that because all of them say the same thing. They're like, "Oh my gosh, Miri." I'm like, "Okay, you're awesome and you're an empress, and just put on your crown and be here. This is where you belong."
I love it, and that's what I love about the Impressa brand too, it is embraces femininity,
Mhm.
and I will tell you it was just by chance, right? I love tarot
Okay.
cards, and we have tarot cards here, my daughter loves tarot, and the one day I was doing a card pull, and it was just before I joined Impressa, for the AI foundations to facilitate one of the sessions, and
Okay.
I pulled
Empress.
the Empress card, and so, it just aligned. It was so
Wow.
cool, and I'm like, like, it just connected, and I was just like, "Get outta
Dang.
here, like,
You
coincidence?
see
This can't be
this?
a coincidence."
What I'm wearing? This
I
is
can't
one of the empresses. You can't see it. It's a I don't know. It's like a little bit blurry, but this is the empress card. This is a
Oh,
pendant of yeah.
stop.
And so I know this one of the empresses saw it, and her and I have been connected for a while, and she just sent me an email and Stacy and said, I found this and I bought you one and Stacy one and myself one, and I want to plug into Impressa because I found my home. And I was like, oh my gosh. So like this is amazing. So this is actually the Empress card pendant.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so
I just got
cool.
it.
Oh my
I
god, I'm getting chills.
know. So we're connected.
It just
Amazing.
all, like, clicked. It was
It does.
crazy, and yeah, I loved it.
Amazing. Amazing.
But yeah, so you hinted at something coming, and just so you know, this is probably not gonna be posted until, like, later. If you want to give us a
Okay.
little sneak peek into what maybe just little hints into what's coming, you don't have to share
Okay,
too much.
Stacy may kill me because I'm like we haven't even like announced it internally, but I'll share. I'll share a little bit. So we are absolutely going to connect very specifically with women who are transitioning in any way, their career, their life. Very specifically, we're going to create a series for them of workshops that are going to enable them to kind of walk through this process with Impressa, with the Impressa community. We're going to bring our Impressa community to cover that with them. And it's going to be I think it's going to be a five-part series where they will, it's a cohort led. You were part of AI Foundations. AI Foundations now has moved to Enterprise Solutions, which is actually being led by Julie. This is for women who are still, we since we're in tech, we're like, oh, foundations is like I've done that 2 years ago, but some women have not, and there's so many women in other parts of the world and who are not in the industry who are still, would still benefit from AI Foundations programs. This is an elevation of AI Foundations, and it's not foundational at all. It is a specific program for women to bring them in, to embrace them, to make them part of this space that we are. It's our basically what Impressa is covering here. It's going to be three things. It's belong, build, and become. So this process of one of the things that I saw a lot in women in tech is that a lot of them fell into it like I did. I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna go into tech. I didn't sign up for tech." And then you end up in tech and you love it and it's wonderful, but it is exhausting. And the industry itself moves so fast and it's leading everything that we're doing. So even if you're not in the tech industry, you're being impacted by the tech industry. So we have a lot of women that we want to bring in to cover in this space where they're going to decide what's next for them and feel in control of what is next for them. And I think that's very, very important. You and I did it, and we know what it feels like. And I heard your other podcast, and you were talking about your experience in corporate. If you want to share that here, will be great because I think it aligns. When you are somewhere where it's not your space, or where it no longer serves you as a woman, it no longer serves your mission, it no longer aligns to your mission, your essence begins to dissipate. Your essence begins to dull, and you're little by little disappearing. And so, and so many women I've spoken to, dozens, if not hundreds, have experienced this. And we stay for all the wrong reasons. We stay because it's comfortable. We stay because it's a good paycheck, and we stay because our children are going to college. And then, so we make a rational decision to not listen, to quiet down that thing that's speaking to us, that's telling us this is not where you belong anymore. This you need to go, you need to go where you belong. And so in this series that we're gonna put out there, which I hope by the time you're listening, it's out there, um, you we will welcome the opportunity for you to navigate where you want to go next and feel in control of that. Everything feels so out of control today in today's society, including if you're in corporate. Oh my God, my job may change, or it may not be here, or I'm being forced into early retirement, or it'll be eliminated. I mean, just like all kinds of things that can happen. And that feeling alone, we women, we have a security shaped hole in us. We thrive when we feel secure, and that's mental security, that's physical security. We are prey in the world. So we enter, we're like, are we safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? And that's a question we ask all the time. If I meet you, am I safe? Can I trust you? Can I trust that? Can I trust that? And so when we talk about Empresa being that safe space for community, it's exactly where we want to go to bring that cohort specifically right now, because we're seeing, Lori, so many women feeling displaced. Even if they haven't been yet, they feel it. And that feeling is eating away at them. So we want to embrace them. We want them to have conversation from women like you and I that have gone through a transition, that have made a courageous decision, or women who have stayed and they've made it work, and they have enabled AI to help them, skill up so that they don't get displaced. So the many different ways that you can feel in control of what's next for you, because you are, if you want to be.
What Miri just described, women feeling displaced, feeling alone in that transition, that security shaped hole that she talks about, that is real. And it is the reason I built her executive ascent. Women do not fail at transitions because they lack capability. They struggle because they are trying to navigate something massive without the right community, the right skills, and the right support around them. That is exactly what the 12-week AI enabled executive decision lab is built for. If you are a woman in leadership who is feeling the ground shift beneath you and you're not sure what your next move is, this program was designed for you. Visit herexecutiveascent.com to learn more. Now back to Miri. Everything you said there, and especially like women needing that security, needing the safe spaces, because we are prey. I mean, even in the tech industry, when in the early days when it was male dominated, and it still is quite male dominated, to be honest. When I used to be like one woman, like the only woman on the team or one of two, I felt it, right? You're treated differently. The way that you're talked to is different. The way that you either they're even approaching you in interviews is different.
I know.
It's weird, and
Yeah.
for those yeah, for those of us that have lived it, and everything is about, not our work or output or what we're doing, it's about what we're wearing, what we look like,
Oh, it's everything.
oh my gosh, what we're eating, all this stuff, and it's just like
Yeah. What you're eating when you go out to dinner
yeah.
with a friend. Like, what the hell?
Yes. I remember one time someone had come up to me in the office and said, "I'm so glad that you work here because your clothes are so colorful. You actually bring some color to the office. You light it up a bit, because you're just so unconventional." Just because I wore pretty clothes, right? Or pink and pastels,
Yeah. Not great. Not great.
not gray. I was like, "What the hell?"
I
It's just
know.
weird. It's weird.
I know.
And I'll tell you, every day I'm on Reddit looking at the women in tech, women engineer, subreddits, the various ones,
Yeah.
and it's so disheartening to read.
I know.
I'm
The
exhausted.
experiences. I
And
know.
even just talking about their approach to AI or
I
their
know.
feelings about AI,
I
and it's like,
know.
"Oh, I just wanna," I wanna just reach
Bring
out
them in. I
and
hug
and be
them.
like, "Let's have a talk," but you can't do
Yes.
that, right? There's so
You can.
many. It's like,
But in person, you can.
yeah, with the present you can. And yeah, that's what exactly, we should be in those spaces being like, "Join
Yeah.
Impressa, you need this
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to start doing." Get
We
someone.
will. That's part of it. We will. We are. We are. Well, we also had to update our product because to be honest, like our sprint one, it was like we launched and we're like, okay, we're out there. It's like when you just have a kid, you're like, okay, I just gave birth. It's the baby's there, whatever. It's just out there. Now you have to like sprint two is all about like getting, and I'm really excited because we brought in this UX agency. The first iteration is always like, okay, this is what we think is going to be a great solution for women based on 2 years of research that we've done and my own experience. I mean, I've worked with hundreds of women in the last 20 years in my career doing consulting. So it's like I put in my 10,000 hours, right, with women. And so all of that came to be with this understanding. But then again, the market is consistently changing. And now that we're seeing the impact on women specifically, I was like, okay, I am going to act like I am the audience for Impressa, right? How does Impressa show up for me as I build it on the other side? And I was like, well, I have like, I don't know, 3 fears about AI. I did the research. It's seven. Women have seven main fears about AI. I was like, my gosh, that's four more than I ever imagined. And it makes sense because I'm in the industry. So a lot of the fears that women not in the industry are thinking about, I wasn't thinking about, right? Because I am in the industry. So there's so much more to learn about beyond ourselves and the industry. And when you add intersectionality, regions and countries and women who are, just starting out or women who are going to retire. There's just like this whole spectrum to learn to embrace these women that you're seeing that they're talking about how scary it is. So we have such a great opportunity right now to embrace them.
Yeah, oh my 7? What are they? Do you have it the list in front of you? Like, what are.
I can pull them up. I can pull them up.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me see. Hold on one second.
that's wild, I wouldn't have
It
thought
is
that.
wild. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So the first one is job displacement. It's basically AI is going to take over my job. The second one is I feel like like this is cheating. When I use AI, there's like this ethical part of me that because as a woman, and that's how I operate. I operate in authenticity, and I want to show up clean and clear. I feel like I'm cheating when I use AI. The other one is AI bias against women in general, which exists in our systems. The other one is I don't know enough. And that's actually a spectrum. It's not like I may know enough, but I don't think I know enough. So I may have played with AI. I use it every day. I still don't think I know enough. I think that this AI thing is a huge, system that I will never get to understand its infrastructure. Data privacy is the other one. Business obsolescence, so being underdeveloped, not knowing enough or not having the next generation skills or being able to understand what they are in order for me to skill up. And then am I enough? Not feeling enough. It's the fear of like I don't have all the things that it takes for me to really navigate successfully the age of 8.
Wow.
Mhm.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So it feels like cheating. I never thought of that. I was like, I don't feel like cheating. Oh my God. Everything I'm doing AI, Impress as an A is a frontier firm. We're doing we could not possibly scale without AI right now. And that's
Yeah,
made in our infrastructure. Like everything we do is we have agentic workforces in everything that we do operationally. And I don't feel bad about it. I mean, I couldn't hire 50 people. You know what I mean? So I'm
yeah,
not, I'm not. And so I'm leveraging AI as much as I can to automate, which is wonderful. I don't feel like it's cheating, but generally, women do, and I was like, "Wow, I had not considered that."
yeah.
Mhm.
And that makes sense because you know why?
Mm,
Because we've had to prove ourselves, and it's
yeah,
been the prove it again.
yeah,
Even when I have been in certain roles at different companies, not Microsoft, because Microsoft was the exception, which is why I was there for 7 years. But at
and
different companies, it was, "Oh, you were successful on this project? Okay, well, let's see how you're on this one." And it just felt like you were constantly trying to prove yourself. And then now you have AI, and companies are glorifying, oh, bringing in AI.
yeah,
Very little training, right?
yeah,
And this is my pet peeve about it. Very little
mhm,
training,
mhm,
very little guidance, but people are exploring different ways to use it, and the guys, can push it and do whatever they want and feel like, "Yeah, look at this cool thing I did." And when women are doing it, they feel internally, no one's looking at them like they're cheating, but they feel it because they're like, "Well, I didn't do it myself." And, "Oh, this felt like a shortcut," or "This felt like, a cheat code." And it's like, no, this is the point. It's how you harness AI. It's not cheating. It's how you harness it responsibly, ethically, but to automate and to reduce the time for a lot of the low value, low impact work so that you free up your time for what you actually bring to the table, which is the strategy, the vision, the high impact, high value work, right? Like instead of getting bogged down with all of the day to day mundane things that nobody likes to do in their job. I mean, that's one area you can be efficient in. And it's heartbreaking to hear women say that, but I understand because we've had to
Yeah.
prove ourselves day in, day out that we belong in these spaces. And we have companies that are, setting the stage to say, hey, you have to use it. But yet, those same companies are having these interviews, especially for tech roles, where they're like, "We want everyone to be using AI, but we're still operating our interview process as though there's no AI. So come in and do a coding test," which is not the reality from now going forward. Now, yes, you
No.
need to know the fundamentals, but why don't you have an interview process that shows how they actually leverage Copilot in their development workflow? Why are you still operating this interview process from like 1997?
Yeah. No, a
Like,
lot of systems are so archaic. Everything,
oh,
the infrastructure of a corporate is extremely archaic, and it has never been favorable to enable women's value. So, and one of the things that we want to target with Impressa is this idea that your value never gets laid off. It only compounds. And so when we think we're getting laid off, or my role is obsolete, or my value is not better because or greater because now AI is automating some of it, some of the things that I used to do, your value is only compounding as a woman. And what you're saying, Lori, is exactly right. If we let the robot do robot things, which could be automation and workflows, we in turn enable ourselves as women to allow our divine nature to enter and to do so much of the creation that we do. We make things extra. We make things better. We beautify systems and we humanize processes, and we center them and sprinkle them with empathy and communication and values, and we expand the divine nature of women. We as women have entered the corporate space historically, adapting always. We've
yeah,
adapted to the corporate space since we entered it, since World War II. We came in and we came in quietly. Oh, I'm just happy to have a job, and I'm just happy to get that promotion. And so we never entered with this idea of like, hell, I'm bringing a whole lot to this table, and your entire system would suck if I wasn't here. And
yeah,
that's the truth. That's the truth. And so that's where Impressa is endeavoring to remind women of that intrinsic value that the job is not giving you, corporations are not giving you. It's yours. In essence, it's yours, and you get to bring it up to the table, and you get to show yourself up with it fully. And if someone is not paying for that value, or they are not embracing that value, that is not where you want to be. We no longer
exactly.
want to be, Lori, where we're having to prove ourselves. Like, hell, we've proved ourselves for generations. Like, here we are. We've proven ourselves time and time again. We are valuable to every system, and we are badasses to every system. So if you don't have us, I don't want you back. Like, I don't want to be where you don't want me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, screw that. I'm gonna go where I'm
Yeah.
celebrated, not tolerated. And I think that's the movement. The next shift that women need to have is like, let's stop acting like we still need to prove ourselves. We've done that for a long time. Our mothers did that. Our last generation. Let's make sure this next generation of women show up, and they don't have to even explain that they're a woman. I'm just a professional with all these values that I'm bringing to the table. Period. Pay me for it, and if
Yes.
not, I'm going somewhere else.
Oh, that's the energy. Yes, we need that. And
Yeah,
that's the goal. Women are now at a point where we're creating the spaces that are meant for us, but also will embrace anyone because
sure.
that's how we are. We're
Well,
about
we're communal.
community.
That's how we are. We're
We are very,
communal. We
yes.
will open the door to everyone because everybody benefits.
Absolutely. And, I have a vision that one day women will change the face of corporate.
Oh,
Once
sure.
women get into those levels where they can make a change, burn that old playbook, change the face of corporate so that it works for everybody because we know and we've seen it, we lived it. trying to fit into systems that weren't meant for us to be there, where
Absolutely.
we feel like an outsider, where everything feels harder.
Yeah, it's not built for us. It's not built for us. And how do you start that, Lori? Very simple. When ChatGPT talks like a man to you, you thumbs down it and you say, "Don't talk to me like that. I don't like your assertiveness." Literally, that's simple. Like thumbs down, don't like it. Train it. Train the AIs that you're dealing with every single day. Those
Yes.
little changes are big changes because they're telling the system, again, they're built a certain way, and I'm grateful that they're built. I appreciate everybody who has built something to make our lives better. I'm grateful for technology, but we have to understand that technology is mostly built by men, and wonderful for them because they built things, but we don't have to adapt. We can now change it. And so to change something starts with us. The change, I always say inclusion starts with I. I get to say, don't like it. No, not going to do that. No, not going to do that. If we adapt, we are doing more of the same. If we continue to adapt and not raise our hands and not say, this is not for me, it's not building it for me, I don't fit in, because we're afraid of being difficult or whatever it is, then again, that's the responsibility I think we have to stop doing that, to not feel like come in with courage and change the systems from the inside out. It really is going to be up to us to close that gap, not widen
Yes. 100%. Oh my god, I'm so fired up. I love it.
it. Me too. Me too.
All right, I always end the episode with this question, but with a little bit of a twist depending on, like, the topic, but as we're talking about the old corporate playbook was built
Yeah.
without women in mind,
Yeah.
and now with AI being built in the same way,
Hmm.
if you could rewrite one rule that's been baked into both, what would
Mm,
it be and what would you replace it with?
beautiful question. I think the rule is for women. I think our rule, we've encoded ourselves into this idea that we are just grateful to be here. That's not the rule. We're not grateful to be here. We've always been here. We've always made things different and better, and world would not be anywhere without us. So literally, and so retaking our power and understanding our intrinsic value would be the rule. If I come in and I remind myself, I had a woman, a black woman, a friend of mine, who she always said, I always think, I always enter a room like I'm a white man. I was like, okay. I was like, that
I
works,
love
that works.
that.
And I loved her sense of humor. It's kind of satire, but I was like, how sad is that? Why would you have to say that? Like that just speaks to the patriarchy so much of like why we understand that and we laugh about it because we get that energy, right? So
Yeah.
I hope that, you know, a generation from here, from now, someone will be like, I entered the room like Miri. I entered the room like Lori, like
Yes.
that we take it upon ourselves that the rule will be I walk into every room, digital or analog, with my full self, unapologetically me. That's who I am. That's what I bring. And if I show up and it is not accepted, I walk right out. I make contracts with myself about that. That's the rule. I make contracts with myself. And that has, for me, I've done that. And that has changed everything about how I live my life. Everything from being a Latino woman who had to learn English, and, basically navigate so many micro and macroaggressions. We would be here all day talking about them. I go back, I'm like, what would I tell that girl? How would I enter the room? I've been to boardrooms, I was the only girl, and it's like, oh, Miri's here. She can serve coffee. Literally, she can serve us coffee. I was like, what the hell? So
My god.
horrible, horrible. And I'm not the only one. We all go through this. So if rewinding hindsight and for the next generation, the rule, walk in fully understanding your value and not willing to at all, unapologetically, not willing to let anyone on anything detach from that. Absorb your value. Like, this is who I am. This is what I bring. And this is what I will always be. That changes everything. Men walk around like that. And so they get a whole lot more of opportunities because that's also part of the confidence. Like you walk in and you're confident in who you are. Um, those are small but big changes in how
Yes.
we women approach life. It's not like coming in like, oh, so good. No, I'm showing up. This is me. Look at me. I am everything. I'm life. I'm a life giver. I
Yeah.
enter the room and it changes because I'm here. That is the energy. And that is what it's going to take us and a set of women with this attitude to change the world intrinsically and the systems that have plagued us for generations. And I don't blame men. I'm grateful for men. I have two boys. I'm happily married. I love men and what they've done, but it's now the time for women to come in and bring in their 50% to that and make that world better.
Yes, I love that. What a beautiful note to end on. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Miri.
Thank you
And
for having me.
thank you for sharing for what's coming up with Impressa. So, where can people find you and how can women sign up for Impressa?
Yeah, Empressa AI. So Empressa it's like the word Empress with an A at the end. Empressa double S dot AI. So you'll find everything there. You'll be able to join us there, participate and join the community. We're also on social media on LinkedIn and also on Instagram at Empressa AI. We have a team dedicated to connecting with women and making sure that when they, the first touch point that they feel. Again, this is all about we are embracing your journey and we want to hold your hand and be your sister wherever that journey is for you, whether you're navigating a transition, whether you've made a decision to like, start your new job or a new venture or a side hustle, whatever it is, we're excited to become and help you be a part of it. And just like you, Lori, that are very much a part of that community, there's real women behind it. So the only thing AI does is help us accelerate and scale. AI is not our sister, is our helper, and we get to the sisters are there to help you and to connect. And so just reach out to it. And for me directly, find me on LinkedIn, Miri at Impressa.ai. You can send me an email as well and I'll be happy to connect.
Amazing. And I'll put all the links as well in the show notes. Thank you again for spending some time with me today, Miri. I
Thank you,
am
Lori.
so thrilled for what's coming up. Can't wait for our next phase of Impressa to be announced.
Exciting.
And
Yeah,
like I said, I won't post this until that happens.
you'll be fine. It'll be happening. So now we have to do it. It's been announced though. now,
Amazing.
now we've got to team, we gotta go. Thank you, Lori. It's a pleasure, and thank you for this platform. This is the kind of thing that enables other women to learn, to feel inspired. So thank you for this inspiring platform. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
AI is not neutral. It never was. It was built on data that reflects the world as it has been, not the world as it should be. And if women are not in the room where it is being built, trained, and shaped, it will keep encoding the gaps we have spent generations trying to close. Here's what I'm taking from this conversation: the window is open right now, and the women who walk through it, who choose to show up fully, who stop adapting to systems that were not built for them and start building ones that are, those are the women who are going to change what this technology looks like for the next generation. Miri said it best: inclusion starts with I. You get to train the AI you work with every single day. You get to say, this doesn't work for me. You get to walk into every room, digital or analog, with your full self unapologetically. That is not just a mindset, that is a strategy, and it starts today. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a woman in your network who needs to hear it. Leave a comment and tell me what landed. And if you haven't already, please take a minute to leave a review. It helps this show reach more women who are ready to stop waiting and start building. You can find Miri in the Empressa community at empressa.ai and connect with her directly on LinkedIn. All the links are in the show notes. Thank you for listening to Leadership Recalibrated. I'll see you in the next episode. The leadership advice that got many women this far will not necessarily get them where they want to go next. This phase of your career is not about working harder. It's about working strategically by deciding which rules still apply and which ones you are finally ready to outgrow. If this conversation resonated, stay with us, subscribe to the podcast, and join me here every Sunday for new episodes. And if it gave you language for something you've been carrying quietly, share it with another woman in your network who needs to hear it too. Until next time, lead with intention, question everything, and change the rules for the better. I'm Lori Lalonde, and this is Leadership Recalibrated.